Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bonfire Big Truckin' Tuesday. Here on this Tuesday night, we are at IRP in Indianapolis, the Lucas Oil Raceway, here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm going to be your commentator, Jared Kelly. And as we go over to our race info, as you can see here, we're on almost the 7/10 of a mile racetrack here in Indianapolis, Indiana, like always. Track temp is 69 degrees. Outside weather temp is 68, so it's kind of equal for ambient temperature. As we are going to move over to qualifying. I don't see anybody out. Let's see who we got. We got Sam Milliken getting some extra laps down. He's done qualifying. He's just doing some extra laps. But we'll stay on board with him. There is your starting lineup at the moment with 5 minutes left to go here in qualifying. David Owens sitting on pole in front of Nate Maurer by, I believe, it's 200ths of a second. Or, no, it can't be. I have to go up to David Owens to find out. It's 11 hundredths. That's what it is. I was reading my thing wrong. I'm still getting back into the swing of things. So we move over to Jax Duvall. He's going to go out for his qualifying run, running in a black and gray paint scheme. See if Jax can move up the timetable after having a good shot last week at Pocono as he's going to spin out. That's going to ruin this first lap. He's going to have to reset and go for his second lap, and hopefully he can do a really good lap that time. Pretty quiet night here in Indianapolis. Not a lot of cars on track. I think we might have just a little over 20. As Jax is going to hit the inside wall, I'm going to guess he's not happy with that qualifying lap. I believe that's going to wrap it up for qualifying. Sam Milliken, the only one still out. As we go over, we can kind of go and look. If it load, yeah, here. Our practice results with Fred Lester taking the fastest time overall with a 21.4 in practice. Not sure where he's going to line up for the race. Doesn't look like he's qualified, or he has qualified. He just didn't get a clean lap in there. But Matthew Smith, the second fastest, and Thomas Fox, your third fastest overall. So those three are ones to watch for this race. Last week's winner, David Owens, there in the 5th position. He's our pole sitter at the moment. And Nate Maurer, who showed up last week, was running up front, had a chance to win there, finished 3rd. He's another one that you might want to watch out for. Just under 2 minutes left in qualifying. I believe this is just going to be it. But let's take a ride on board with Sam Milliken, number 17, as he takes us around the racetrack here. running that middle groove. I've seen him run all the way up near the wall for fast laps. Not sure what will happen here. Entry to pit road on the back straightaway towards turn 3, instead of your normal outside turn 4. Very slow pit road as we're on board as he pulls into his pit stall. I think he'll be done there. See if we go to our blimp view. Oh, he's going to go back out on track again. So Sam Milliken not done practicing with 15 seconds left in this qualifying session. As we move on to the race. So as we go on to qualifying, David Owen's going to be leading the field to green. He had a 21.6. That is your pole time, with Nate Maurer starting on his outside, just a 10th behind of David Owens. Sam Ballard and Chris Sargent lining up that second row. We haven't seen much from Chris, but it's a good starting spot to have a good, strong points day as he is further back in the point standings. Steve Lewis and Sam Milliken on that third row. Stephen Neal, Doug Neal, the Neal boys in that fourth row. Chris Smith, Edward Peltz in that fifth row, followed by Matthew Smith and Jax Duval in the sixth row. Both David Buell and David Brenner are going to be on your seventh row, followed by Morris Craven, who's going to round out your top 15. AJ Binish, our points leader at the moment in 16th, didn't have a good lap in, so he is going to be at the back, followed by Fred Lesser and Matt Schofield. As we go on to the rest, it's going to be Zach Engel, Tommy Fox, and Jeff Pfeiffer going to be rounding out the field. As we try and get to some drivers, let's go look onto pit lane. See if I can figure out these cameras. There it is. David Owens there, our pole setter. The NOS Energy onboard camera. Doug Neal in the 00. Jax Duval in the 84 with the goldfish suit. Here is your starting lineup. Oh, as I try and get this off the screen. As the field is getting double file, should be good for some short track action here. The Bonfire Big Truckin' Tuesdays. Let's see if the field can get underway green. It's David Owens is going to come to the front straightaway. It's going to be green on Barney the Flagman. Green flag up in the air. We're racing in Indianapolis. David Owens out to a good lead. Sam Ballard, who blinked off there, going side by side with Nate Maurer on the inside. Got a little loose. Trying to collect it. But that outside lane is going to come with momentum. He's going to fall back behind Sam Milliken. Back to the 5th spot, and he might be losing as, Steve Lewis got sideways collecting Chris Smith with some net code. And David Buell involved with that as well. That's going to bring out a yellow. That was some hardcore net code there. For the start of this race, we are only 3 laps in. Let's go back and watch what happened to Chris Smith and Steve Lewis. I can go further up to Steve. As he's loose there onto the top. Doug Neal on the brakes. Chris Smith trying to avoid and gets down into him. David Buell just nowhere to go. Those 3 collected in our first yellow of the night. Hopefully they can get back out there and have some good racing. See David Buell sitting right there. It doesn't look like he has any damage to that truck. Steve Lewis, we can see the sides kind of bent up. Chris Smith, who is involved with that, he's down pit road. We see a little bit of some scrapes there on the right side, but it doesn't look like anything's too hurt. He's just going to doctor up that car and get back out there, I assume. Here comes Steve Lewis and David Buell. Steve Lewis. And Chris Smith is back out there. But David Owens still leading this rate with Nate Maurer in that 2nd spot. And Chris Sargent there in the 06, sitting in the 3rd position. So I try and fix some audio issues here. There he goes. Green flag back up in the air as I was missing it, changing some audio settings. You guys should be able to hear the cars now. So we're on board with Chris Sargent as he was stuck on the inside in that 3rd position. Stephen Neal getting up into the outside wall there on the exit of turn 2. But it's still David Owens, Nate Maurer, and Sam Milliken, your top 3. It's further back. Jeff Pfeiffer and Fred Lester are going side by side. AJ Benish right in front of them. Zach Angle there in the 47 shooting into the top lane, trying to make a run on the 6 of Fred Lester. Back up front, David Owens doing the fastest lap of the race. Shout out to our fans from Kansas City. Jeff Milliken, I see you in the chat. I'm glad you're watching here with us on the Bonfire Racing Network. As Sam Ballard in the 80, the newest one to post the fastest lap, a 22:01. Sam back there in the 6th position. Don't see any real side-by-side racing. The one that's made the most positions since the start of the race is Jeff Pfeiffer there in the 85. Milliken holding on, slightly catching Nate Maurer. That's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to pass him, as it does look to be a top lane racetrack one with that momentum on the exit of the corner. Get above him, take away that top line, it seems like. As Nate is just throwing it in there. I think he got up into the fence just a little bit there through turns 1 and 2. See what it looks like from the onboard camera. Sam Milliken's looking to the inside there of the 977. Right on front, or the front nose. Falls off just a little bit. Sam Ballard and Doug and Neal going at it. For the 6th position. Just behind them, Edward Peltz and Matthew Smith battling it out there. Matthew running that top lane. Just a little bit. But Matthew Smith trying to do the crossover to the 7 of Edward Peltz. Feels like he's being held up. Looks like Edward Peltz is a little bit off pace there. Down there stuck at the bottom of the racetrack, as now he's going side by side with David Brenner, and it's just easy pickings for those on the top lane. Slide up maybe in front of AJ Binish here in the 5. still chooses to go to that bottom. As David Owens is still just a quarter of a second ahead of Nate Maurer. Nate Maurer not letting him go anywhere. AJ Benish finally got around Edward Peltz there. Jeff Pfeiffer looking to do the same. So I heard somebody get into the wall further up front, not sure who it was. Possibly maybe Chris Surgeon. 06 maybe. Smith. As now David Owens feeling some pressure from Nate Maurer. Maurer looking to the inside of the 11. So we're possibly seeing a battle for the lead. Ain't giving him enough room. Still looking to clear him through 3 and 4. Can't quite do it. Just gonna have to keep working him. As they're getting close to catching some lap traffic of Chris Smith. Looks like Steve Lewis crashed, but no yellow is out. Chris Smith down pit road as we see that damage with David Buell as well. Let's see what happened there. Steve Lewis on the bottom. Just gets up into Chris Smith, then hits the inside wall. And David Buell and Chris Smith involved as well. So those guys involved in that first accident just can't get away from each other. But they are catching Steve Lewis there. As the Nate got blocked, puts the bumper to the 88. It's going to let Sam Milliken take that second position and let David Owens run away. Battles we have Sam Ballard and AJ Benish, and the whole field it seems like on that top lane. Ballard still fighting some internet issues. Brad Lesser working his way up on Chris Angle. AJ Benish on the inside of David Brenner in the 22 with Doug Neal right in front of them. AJ showing a lot of speed as he got blocked just a little bit by Doug Neal. He's going to slide up in front of David Brenner. A lot of speed in AJ's car. Last lap was a 22.17. Oh no, that was his best lap. I'm sorry. 22.86 was his last lap. AJ just cutting his way through the field, and Jeff Pfeiffer got really loose on the inside of David Brenner. Looks like Steve Lewis went off track again. Oh wait, that's just further back. And Sam Milliken now falling off pace, now back behind Nate Maurer there. Over a second behind David Owens in the 11. Back to this three-wide battle with Fred Lester and David Brenner. It's all for the 6th, 7th position. As Fred Lester now just going to get by Doug Neal. As David Brenner and Jeff Pfeiffer go door to door. Jeff gonna put it 3 wide through 3 and 4. Can it hold and can they make it? Yes, they did. That was a close call with Matthew Smith in the 96. Matthew just trying to get his momentum back, going in the right direction. Fred Lester made the pass on Chris Sargent there for the 6th position. Now trying to run away and catch up to AJ Benish, who is about 1.5 seconds in front of him. Pfeiffer trying to go to the outside of the 06. Can't get it done yet. He's going to look to the inside now and throw it into turn number 1. Gonna slide up. Doesn't get quite into him yet. But a lot of speed out of this 85 car. Edward Peltz still falling back now, getting passed by Matt Schofield, 61. Maybe losing just a little bit of tire there on that right front. Nate Maurer closing that distance to the 11. Fred Lester now catching up to Stephen Neal in the 45. Side by side down the front straightaway. Maurer getting ever closer to that 11. That's Stephen Neal. Stephen Neal gets well out of the way now. He's going to go down pit road. So we approach lap 55. David Owens still your leader, followed by Nate Maurer closely. His gap's just around 2/10, followed by Sam Milliken, who's been in that third spot for a majority of this race. AJ Benish moving his way up from the back of the field after not qualifying with Fred Lester. Those guys in your top 5. And Stephen Neal not letting Fred Lester have it easy, as Jeff Pfeiffer now is in this fight. Jeff Pfeiffer slides up in front of Fred Lester. And those tires working for the 85 car. That'll still heating up here for that top position. It's Fred Lester now going down pit road. Could these guys be needing some fuel? Tires. Don't really know what the fuel strategy is. As Nate Maurer still working that quarter panel with David Owens. They're going to almost be side to side going through turns number 3. Nate can't get to the side of David Owens, giving him a lot of room there. As they approach lap traffic, Fred Lester now just coming out of pit road. I believe he's going to be 2 laps down. David Buell back out on track, 24 laps down. Not the race he wanted to have today, sitting there, I believe, second in the point standings. But this lap traffic gonna play a factor. I think Nate used the bumper there just a little bit to push David out of the corner. These guys staying on the top lane. Morris Craven has hit out of the way of the 2 leaders. See what Matt Schofield does here. Schofield gonna go to the inside. Fred Lester coming back. He's on new tires. Should get. Oh, Nate Maurer spins. He locks it down. Is that going to be a yellow? Yes, it is. That's going to be our second yellow of the day, and it's Nate Maurer in the 971. Not what Fred Lester wanted to see, being 2 laps down. So that should be Matt Schofield getting his lap back, being the lucky dog. We should see everybody come down pit road. Let's see what happened there to Nate Maurer going through turn number 3 and 4. Nate just gets to the power a little bit too early and gets the rear to stick out and just can't save it. Ends up locking it down, and he's sideways on the racetrack and quickly puts it in reverse and tries to get out of the way. But an unlucky break for 971 as David Owens hitting pit road. See who follows him. Sam Milliken down pit road as well. Followed by AJ Biddish, Jeff Pfeiffer, Stephen Neal, Nate Maurer, Resurgent, David Buell, or David Brenner, Zach Engel, Jax Duvall, Tommy Fox, Doug Neal, Sam Ballard, and Edward Peltz. And Matt Schofield should be getting his lap back. So there is your lucky dog. Lap 64 out of 160. David Owens holds on to the lead. Followed by Sam Milliken and AJ Benish is going to be your podium positions. Sure what Matt Schofield's doing. I don't think he knows where the pit road entrance is, or maybe he has to let some guys by. I think that's what he has to do. So we're going to see some guys get a wave around, get a lap back. Smith being one of those. I believe Matthew Smith as well. Fred Lester, Morris Craven. Only one lap down. Sure where the pace car is. There it is, coming out turn number 4. And those pace car lights are off. David Owens taking the inside row, followed by AJ Benish on the outside. Sam Milliken in that third position on the inside. See how he takes this restart. Pace car down pit road. It's going to be David Owens here as they go into the Geico restart zone right out of turn number 4. David Owens leading every single one of these laps here. Green flag back up in the air. Back racing here at IRP. Sam Milliken trying to clear Jeff Pfeiffer. Can't quite do it yet, but Nate Maurer sitting there in the 5th position. It's not going to give up any time to let David Owens run away from this, but he is stuck on that inside lane with Chris Surgeon as Chris Surgeon spins out in front of the field. That's going to bring our 3rd yellow of the night. Let's go back and see. We saw him get loose as he, I think, got to the power a little too early here on the exit. See who else. Zach Engel, a little bit of net code there. Pushes in the rear of Chris Surgeon. That's going to bring out our 3rd yellow of the night. 10 laps to halfway. There is your running order here. So we're approaching the halfway mark here at IRP. So I'm going to take a quick break here, come back shortly. David Beal going down pit road there. Don't think he cleared David Owens to make him lose some more positions. Not sure how many, but I believe it's going to be one to go next time by. David Beal, I think, is still... I think I'm wrong. I believe now pace car lights are off. Should be going back racing here next time by. This pace car peels off. David Owens opting for the outside lane. He took the inside lane last time, but deciding to switch it up here for this restart. Is out of turn number 4. David Owens going to approach the Geico restart zone and take off. Green flag back up in the air. David Owens with a great launch into turn number 1. AJ is going to try and slide up in front of Sam Milliken. See what Jeff Pfeiffer does here. He had a really good run through turn 1. He's going to slide up. Had a hold off from getting into the 17, but I think that hesitation from the 17 is going to allow Jeff Pfeiffer to have a really good run here going into turn number 1. Stephen Neal there in the 45 waiting in the wings. Nate Maurer stuck on that bottom lane. Followed by Jax Duvall as Jeff Pfeiffer goes for a spin. Jax Duvall not able to get out of the way. Tommy Fox, Chris Sargent, Matthew Smith, David Buell, Edward Peltz, all involved. Matt Schofield involved, and Steve Lewis. Fred Lester, Chris Smith as well. Let's go back and see with, I believe, let's try Matthew Smith. The wreck's happening now through turns 3 and 4. They just approaching and can't get slowed down, and Chris Smith just slides into the accident. Matt Schofield stops on the racetrack. Fred Lester gets into the back of it. There's Jeff Pfeiffer there in the 85, who was having a really good run there, just got loose. And it looks like, from what I can tell with Chris Smith sliding into the accident, these guys have their brake bias set more to the rear so that when the wrecks do happen in front of them, they push down on that brake, it locks up the rear end. The rear end goes for a wild ride. Not sure who gets the lucky dog this time around. With so many drivers being involved in that accident, could be none at all. I think maybe Morris Craven getting the wave around. I don't know for sure. It's the only one that I don't see who was involved in that wreck. Don't see Morris Craven on the racetrack. Showing me that. I don't see Morris Craven on the racetrack. Hit it there on lap 77. I believe pace car lights are going to go off here as we approach the start-finish line past the halfway point. Only a handful of cars, I believe, not being involved in a wreck this far into the race. David Owens being one of those. He's been up front and away from all the carnage. Everybody behind Doug Neal has been involved in some sort of incident on track. But that's not important here, as David Owens is going to opt to that outside row again. Had a really good restart here to see if he does it again out of turn number 4. Green flag back up in the air. He waited that time to kind of throw off the field. Seemed like it worked. AJ Benish wanting to slide up in front of Stephen Neal early there. Can Sam Milliken do the same in front of David Brenner? Looks like he can, but Nate Maurer going to be stuck on that inside line again. Hasn't been the greatest for restarts being on that inside lane. Doug Neal's trapped there as well in the 0-0. As now Sam Milliken's going to dive under, and we get another yellow. It's Jax Duvall. Not sure what happened there. Let's find out. Thomas Fox right in front of him. He tries to go and do a crossover. As we saw with Nate Maurer, he spins out but noses into the wall. That's going to be a heavy contact for the front end of that car. As we're going to have another yellow flag here. At the moment, Zach Engel, or no, not Zach Engel, AJ Benish going to be your hard charger here, up 14 positions from where he started, the driver out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We have some drivers entering the pit lane here. Try to get some damage repair, maybe go on a differing fuel strategy to try and make it to the end. Goes all the way back to Matthew Smith being the first one to go down pit road. Fred Lester, your first car, 1 lap down. Hit it early there when Nate Maurer spun, got 2 laps down, but with all the yellows we've had, he was able to get one of those laps back by just taking the wave around after Nate spun. Looking to try and keep that nose clean to maybe get the lucky dog if we have another yellow. One to go here once the pace car crosses the start-finish line. Go back racing on lap 89. As it seems like the last 10 laps have been ran under yellow. one's taking that outside line again. AJ gonna try and slide up in front of Sam Milliken if I were to guess. Let's ride on board Sam Milliken there on our onboard. AJ not able to clear Sam Milliken, gonna be stuck to that inside. They're gonna be forced to race side by side. AJ tries throwing it in there to clear him, doesn't get it done quite yet, but can he get the run? No, he can't. It's a close battle out of turn number 4, I'm sorry. Hey, Maurer up to that 4th position. As AJ Benish goes for a spin, can he hold it? I don't think he can. That's going to bring out our 6th yellow out of turn number 4 for, I believe it's the 3rd time here. Let's try and go on board on the left front of AJ Benish. Go on the end car. Just gets to the gas too early like we suspected. Just minor contact with the inside wall. So Fred Lester now should be our lucky dog. He should be able to get one of his laps back now. Put him back on the lead lap. Maurer going down pit road for differing fuel strategy. As there goes Fred Lester getting his laps back. Coming up next from the Bonfire Racing Network, I believe I'm going to try and do it tomorrow. It's going to be the Bonfire Premier Cup at Pocono from Sunday morning while I was traveling. They continued on without me and wait for me. How dare they? We are going to try and get that race. We're going to do an old replay file. I did my best. I muted the Discord. I have no idea who won. I don't know who wrecked. If there's any hurt feelings, I have no clue about that. All I have is the replay file. I've done my best to try and not get any spoilers for that race. Haven't even looked at the point standings for that race. So, just rule of thumb for the replay file, because it is my first time trying to leave spoilers. Leave the chat spoiler free if you know what happens. Me and some of the other viewers are going to be reacting to it raw. So it should be a good time. I'm going to try and do that tomorrow after I get done trying to build a setup for the Nürburgring GP. Not the full Nordschleife, but their little GP racetrack. Because I've got a race on Thursday that I've got to try and do good in. Pace car lights are off. David Owens going to take that outside row with Sam Milliken on the inside. On the front row with David Brenner and Stephen Neal taking up that second row, because I believe AJ and Nate Maurer both pitted there on that last stop to be good on fuel. Doug Neal as well. Matt Schofield, Fred Lester also pitting on lap 94. Everybody up to 8th place has pitted on lap 63, lap 84 and 85 for Matthew Smith and Edward Peltz. But it's the racing up front that we're wanting to watch with David Owens and Sam Milliken. Sam Milliken holding back just a little bit. Actually has Stephen Neal on his door. He's going to lose a spot and go back to third. Stephen Neal might be moving up to that second position. David Brenner there also looking to the outside of the 17. Sam Milliken kind of rubbing doors with the 22. Further back in the field, Nate Maurer trying to make his way back up front. It's too wide in front of him, and he's too wide with Chris Sargent onto his inside. Matthew Smith up into the outside wall. He's got to get off that or he's going to lose a lot of momentum. AJ Binish going to the inside of the 06. That's for the 10th position. Got a little loose there, looked like AJ. Out of turn number 4, got to the gas maybe a little too early again. But he learned his lesson the first time. Nate Maurer trying to track down the 96 of Matthew Smith to get up into the top 7. It is still David Owens out front, almost 4/10 ahead of Stephen Neal and David Brenner. Nate Maurer closing in on Chris Sargent. I saw him there. He got loose. Thomas Fox involved as well in that crash. That's going to bring out our 7th yellow here. Let's go back and see what happened there. So he tried to catch. He got a little bit of help from Thomas Fox behind him. Only had contact with Thomas Fox. It's David Owens going down pit road now for hopefully what's his last stop of the night. He's followed by everybody else besides Nate Maurer and AJ Binish, who pitted that last caution before him. Matt Schofield staying out with Fred Lester and Doug Neal. So it looks like David Owens is going to be going back to the 7th position, or the 5th position actually. Somewhere where he hasn't been all night. Is back behind in traffic, so it's going to be interesting to see what David Owens can do to try and get back up to the front. Steve Lewis, I believe, is your lucky dog in the 88. He is multiple laps down, I believe, but doesn't hurt to get one of your laps back. Maurer takes the lead here. on lap 106. Should be going back green around lap 108. He's going to opt to go to the outside, put AJ Binish to the inside, followed by Matt Schofield and Fred Lester. Those teammates for the DSR Electric, I think I'm saying that right. Lightning Bolt kind of looks like an S. So it's going to be interesting to see if Fred Lester and Nate Maurer work together here. Try and lock out the first two positions. I believe AJ's gonna try and get a lead the lap bonus there. Pace car lights are off. Back racing on lap 109. David Owens behind Fred Lester there on the top road, so at least he's in the preferred row. See what Nate Maurer or AJ Binish can do with clean air. Nate coming out of turn number 4, he's going to hit the Geico restart zone, maybe counting down for his teammate in the 6. Green flag back up in the air. I think they did count it out, as Fred Lester had a good jump on AJ Binish. David Owens there in that 4th spot now, right on the rear bumper of Fred Lester, so that AJ can't slide up in front of him. David to the inside there. He's going to try and make light work of the top 2, since he's on newer, fresher tires. So it's going to be 50 to go next time by. David got a little loose there. Got to the gas a little too early, almost bit him. AJ giving room to Nate Maurer there. Saw the little bobble. Didn't want to get up into the 971. So gonna let David Owens slide in to the outside of the 5, get a good run into turn number 1, but can he do anything with Nate Maurer right in front of him? AJ had to back out of it there. Didn't want to get into Nate again. So this is a great battle for the top position. Further back, I believe Zach Engel trying to make work to Fred Lester in the 6. On newer tires, he's going to try and get to the outside there. Can't get it done this time by, but maybe out of turn number 2. AJ's stuck on that inside line. Can he hold up David Owens, though, and try and keep some offense to him? I don't know if he's going to get it done this time. I don't think so, so he's going to slide in. David Brenner into the outside wall. Wasn't really expecting AJ to slide up in front of him. So it might cause some damage with these truck bodies. Now David Owens is going to try and work on Nate Maurer there to get back to the top position. Nothing for David Owens to really do. He goes to the inside now out of turn number 2. Can't get the run down the straightaway to hold it. I think David feels like he's being held up just a little bit. He wants that clean air up front. See any real battles. Maybe Sam Milliken and Chris Engel catching up to David Brenner. Maybe Stephen Neal catching Chris Sargent. David Owens still hounding on the rear bumper of Nate Maurer. David Owens trying to go for 3 race wins in a row. First winning Nashville, then Pocono, and if he can try and get it done here at IRP. There goes Sam Milliken looking to the inside of David Brenner through 3 and 4. Red Lester coming back into the picture. Maybe saving a little bit of tire for the end of the race. David Brenner gets to the outside wall again, kind of bounces off of it this time. But he gets back up into it. He loses a lot of momentum. He loses at least 3 spots there. That's Chris Smith and Fred Lester to go by. Back up front, David Owens still trying to find a way around the 971. He's going to look to the inside now through 3 and 4. As we approach the halfway mark, or not halfway, but 30 laps to go. Another close battle I see is Stephen Neal and Chris Sargent. But it seems to be like the battle up front. It's just kind of sitting in a static stage. Nobody really able to make any ground on the other. As now Stephen Neal shoots to the bottom. Might be side by side coming out of turn number 2. Able to do anything there. I am going to leave it to the crank it up here on Bonfire Racing Network. So hopefully you guys enjoy the sound of some roaring V8s. I'll stay on in case something happens, so don't worry about me leaving. "20 laps left to go here in Indianapolis, or 19 to go now. Nate Maurer still up front. We saw a battle there a little bit there with David Owens where they're going side by side. David Owens having to fall back behind the 971. Also saw some other battles throughout the field. David Owens still having that tire advantage. Just not able to get around Nate Maurer. Morris Craven, Jeff Pfeiffer, Jack Duval, and Thomas Fox, 4 out of this race. I believe only 14 still on the lead lap. Doug Neal chasing down Chris Sargent with David Beal right behind them. It would be one of those cars a couple laps down. Fred Smith trying to stay out of the way of Nate Maurer. David Owens battling it out back up front. They've got Steve Lewis ahead now. Remember, Steve Lewis was in front of Nate Maurer when they caught him earlier in the race and actually got spun out by Nate. He's gonna try and clear him here down the front straightaway and slide up in front. David Owens getting by him fairly quickly as well, but AJ Benish coming into the picture now. He's 8/10 behind this battle. As we hit 11 to go. Fred Lester and Sam Milliken battling out here as the laps are winding down. Those guys for that 4th position. As Nate Maurer, I don't know what happened to Nate. He looks like he's blinked out. Maybe he's back. As that was almost bad. Could have blinked out of the session. As that happened, Fred Lester was able to clear Sam Milliken to take the lead of this race. David Owens now a half second behind Nate Maurer, falling into the clutches of AJ Benish, who's only 3/10 behind him. Matthew Smith catching up to Zach Engel. That's for the 6th position. Five to go here once Nate Maurer across the start-finish line. AJ Benish looking to get into that runner-up position if he can get by David Owens in the 11. AJ throws it in turn number 1, gets up into the fence. Make him lose some momentum here. Nate Maurer here. The right camera, there it is, Nate Maurer. Just easy on the steering wheel gas pedal as he's going to come with 2 laps left to go. Owens and AJ Binish almost a second behind him. As it's one lap left to go, he came up short in Pocono last week, had to finish third on the podium. But today, he's got the lead through pit strategy and was able to hold on from a hard-charging David Owens. Out of turn to number 4, Nate Maurer is going to win in Indianapolis. David Owens and AJ Binish rounding out your podium. David Owens gives a victory nudge. Same with his teammate Fred Lester. Jax Duvall in the back of Nate Maurer. As Nate Maurer burns it down there on the front straightaway, we're going to look at your results here. Nate Maurer takes the win, just 0.8 ahead of David Owens, almost a second in front of AJ Binish. Lester finishing in that 4th position, Shane Milken in that 5th position. Zach Engel, Matthew Smith, Sam Ballard, David Brenner, and Matt Schofield, your top 10. Stephen Neal, Edward Peltz, Doug Neal, Chris Sargent, and Steve Lewis in your top 15. Then it's Chris Smith, David Buell, and then Thomas Fox. Then Jax Duvall, Jeff Pfeiffer, and Morris Craven. As I back up here to what I believe be the last restart of the race. See if I can get there. We're going to try and do a couple interviews. So I'm going to bring AJ Binish and Nate Maurer into the booth. We're going to start with the podium position, AJ Binish. AJ, you were running third. Started in the back. I'm assuming you kind of messed up in qualifying.
I may or may not have touched the backstretch wall, and then may or may not have spun coming across the line. So,
well, you definitely rebounded from your qualifying attempt and able to hold on to the regular season standing lead. So congratulations to you on remaining the leader, but it seemed like the racetrack was pretty slick out there, getting to the gas a little too early through turn 4. Saw you going around for a wild ride. Talk to me about your race.
Yeah, it was interesting. The early run with the long 60-lap stretch definitely helped where my tires were a lot better than I was able to make passes and get up front. But once we got up there, I was trying too hard to stay with people as I had started second and stuff like that, and would just hit the bump out of 4 and run out of talent and spin it. So, such is life.
Yeah, well, it didn't hurt you too bad. I don't think you hit anything. I think maybe at most you just hit the right rear quarter panel on the wall. But yeah, congratulations on you for finishing third and holding on to that podium spot. We're going to move on to David Owens in 11, who led majority of this race and then fell behind the 8 ball with pit strategy and was sitting 6th, I believe, on the final restart. but able to come back into second. David, it just didn't seem like your car had the handling it needed to when behind other cars. And it looked like just passing was at a minimum here, as that top lane was pretty quick all night long.
Yeah, Nate got me on that pit strategy right there. It was discussed, and I was like, man, didn't want to get back there because I figured there'd be more calamity. So I gambled and waited one more, and hey, winner of the move of the race was right there at Nate Pitton. That's that yellow right there. So, but yeah, if you got the lead, you kind of control the passing. Running that middle lane, you kind of can dictate where everybody else goes that's behind you. So I did it to Nate that first run. He did it right back to me. I made my few attempts, but didn't want to wreck them. So come out of here with a second place. So it was good, fun racing. Always enjoy racing these guys up top. So hey, we'll try again next week.
Well, I think you were one of the handful of drivers that I think finished with a 0X, but I could be wrong. I think you finished with a 0X. I didn't see you having any contact with anybody. So um, good job on not hitting anybody.
I appreciate it.
Nate, you got the win. You came up third last week at Pocono. You're able to get it done here. You had that spin out of turn number 4. I believe just having the same issue of getting to the gas a little too soon and going for a ride, but you didn't hit anything. You actually backed up so nobody would hit you. You were kind of sitting in the middle of the uh, straightaway, but you're able to come back and win. How's it feel to win in the Bonfire Racing League again?
I felt like I had one ripped out of my hands last week at Pocono. That caution coming out and trying to save fuel fell back to 19th. It came back and finished third. Yeah, it's a little. I mean, I love racing these guys. It's fun. First off, want to apologize to Steve Lewis. I don't even know why I went up behind him going into turn 3. I think he just let off though a little bit way earlier than what he usually would because we were going like he was a lap car at the time. He's probably just trying to be nice, let us by, and I hit him. I slammed on my brakes, let him gather it back up. I lost, fell back to third, and then that caution came out. Then with I spun out. That was just frustration. Dude, Owens was like Newman out there, man, but 3 times bigger. I just could not get around him. Felt like a little bit better longer run on the long run truck than Owens, but clean racing between me and him. I loved it. And then that caution came out, and I knew I could make it from there, so I wasn't going to get screwed and not have a caution, have to pit when other guys, would have pitted there and could have made it to the end. So I pitted, chose to take no tires, and it worked out for once in my favor. And I thought Owens was going to, give me a little bumper there, and I would have been all right with that because he was clearly faster than me there before the last 10, 15 laps of that race. But a great race, and finally come out P1 here.
Yeah, when you spun out there, your teammate Fred Lester just pitted and was 2 laps down. Was there any conversation after you spun out where he was like, "Come on, man, I just pitted. I didn't need that yellow right then and there"?
Actually, no. Tom is the most. I seriously think you could punch Tom in the face and he just look at you with a smile. But he he actually I didn't even know that he pitted. To be honest with you, I had no idea. But and he don't care. But just at the end of the race, I don't know if you remember. Oh man, it's a while ago, but I dominating the race. Said I forget what it might have been Rockingham, and I tried bringing her a little sideways out of 4 in the last lap, and I spun and lost the race. I asked if I should bring him a little sideways for him tonight, and he said no, don't let Owens win. So I had to keep her straight to the finish.
Well, congratulations to you once again, having a little bit of some redemption after Pocono, but we'll be back at a bigger racetrack next week at Fontana at Auto Club. Looking forward to the racing there as I'm going to close out the broadcast here. Congrats again to all 3 of you for finishing on the podium. AJ, you're still leading. I think, David, you're moved up to second in the standings, but I could be wrong. I have to see after it gets uploaded to Sim Racer Hub, but yeah, it was good racing all night long. Had a decent time. Still trying to. Felt like I was tripping all over myself. Feels like I haven't done it in months, but it was really just a week. But I'm gonna try and get the Cup Series Pocono replay done tomorrow and get that out of the way. Looking forward to. I don't even know where. I don't even know where Sunday is. Where they're racing at on Sunday. I haven't looked to see, but we'll be back Sunday mornings for our regular scheduled broadcast. But until then, I'm Jared Kelly, and just keep showboating around. I like hearing those stories.
Have a good night, guys. Appreciate what you do, Jared.
Yeah, no problem, man.